It is with great pleasure and some small amount of fear and trepidation that I introduce Austen Tayshus to you. Austen Tayshus, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing? Nice to be here.
Really well.
It's lucky that we showed up a little bit earlier, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Now, 30 years since Australiana. Are you still forced to do that shtick at every show you do?
I'm forced to do it at every show. It's so much part of Australian culture now that it's a real pleasure. So I quite often I do it as a horse race, you know.
They said at home last Sunday morning, me mate Boomerang said he's having a few people round for a barb. He said he might cook a burger or two. I said, sounds great. Will Wallaby there? He said, yes, and veggie might come too.
So it just depends on the crowd.
Now, it's funny, I remember hearing that a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I just listened back to it the other day.
You're still a kid, though.
True. And didn't realise how close to blue it is and how many drug references are in there. And yet it was a number one hit 30 years ago.
It was a number one hit, and it's still the biggest selling single in Australian recording history.
Now, I saw that, and I thought that was Shut Up Your Face.
No. It always did better than that. And in fact, I know Joel Dolce very well, and we always have a bit of a fight because of that. We actually had a fight on the street in Melbourne a few times.
And how did that go down?
Well, he always said, mine's, much bigger seller than yours, and it's all of that. I just, we just get into that sort of thing. And,
Your shows are pure chaos, is what I've noticed. I went and listened to a few discs, and I looked through a bunch of stuff that you've got up on YouTube.
Well, that's what I try to create. I try to create chaos wherever I go, and because the mainstream is fairly bland. If you've been to comedy or if you know much about the arts in Australia, it's all fairly much Kate Blanchett and Andrew Upton. So I'm in there just stirring it up and unsettling the people and upsetting people and pissing people off. So that's what it's all about. My show is fairly unpredictable, and as an artist, that's what I endeavour to do. So I start out by really shaking it up, and it doesn't stop for... Usually my shows are around 15 to 20 hours. Then I take a break.
Now, what's wrong with Kate and Andrew?
Well, no, I'm just using them symbolically as representative of the Australian arts scene, and as a gay man, I mean, they do tend to upset me, if you know what I mean. So
really, why is that?
Because because they are. I think they get too much attention, to be honest. And us little people, we deserve a look in from time to time. Queen Kate and her husband seem to attract a bit too much attention. Although Woody Allen was on the phone to me this morning, asking me to do Blue Jasmine too. So there you go. You never know.
So how much of your shtick is actually prepared? How much of your comedy show is actually written? Because Australiana is clearly written and rewritten until it's sort of like very, very finely crafted. How much is the rest of your show like that?
A small percentage. It really varies and depends very much on the crowd that's there on the night. If it's a smart crowd, and I doubt that I'll be finding that in Hobart, but if it's a good crowd, if it's a sharp crowd, then I've just done a show. I did 2 shows in Los Angeles, and that's in California for people out there. Hello, everybody in Hobart. It's time to wake up. It's nearly 3:00 in the afternoon. Hello. I'm in Los Angeles, so I've been working over there, and it's a good thing to work to Americans just to get because there's such a difference between the American psyche and the Aussie thing, which is not really happening.
Do you find that the Americans get you more? That you're sort of very, crack sharp humour, you're sort of, being in the face?
Again, it depends on the sort of crowd. I mean, the kids don't get anything, really, the kids these days. So they're preoccupied with Facebooks and, texting, and I think their sense of humour is fairly puerile, and most of the films that are made for them are aimed at them, like the Judd Apatow pictures are fairly much about vaginas. So if you've got one, hang on to it.
So do you get a lot of kids Facebooking during your shows?
I do, well, I don't get a lot of kids coming to my show. These days it's mostly octogenarians and nonagenarians, actually. I do a lot of shows in retirement places, retirement villages, and
do you get many corporate gigs?
Alzheimer's sort of venues, and a lot of I get a lot of corporate shows in in cemeteries or things like funerals and things like that.
Because I was wondering what sort of because there's quite a few comedians who make a very good solid living out of.
They do, but they've all sold out. You mean like Bill Anderson, people like that?
Oh, look, the one I always think of, because every time you go to a urinal at a major airport is
Elliot Goblet.
Elliot Goblet has the ads saying, "I'm a great corporate comedian."
Sure, but he doesn't get any work. I mean, I know the guy very well. He's always at home. The phone doesn't ring.
He's spending a lot of money on urinal ads.
He does spend a lot of money on urinal ads, and in fact, he spends a lot of time at the urinal himself because he's got a prostate issue.
Okay,
but he's a good man, and so are you. And things are going well.
Do you?
How's the producer back there? Is he shaking? Is he?
No,
okay?
He's all right. He's got his finger firmly over the dump button.
Because you just never know with the Tayshus thing. It's a conspiratorial thing, and it could just erupt at any moment.
Do you like a bit of interaction with the audience when you?
I love to interact with the audience, and that's really very, very much what I do. So I create a situation where people don't really know what's going on. So that's part of the whole chaotic thing. So the unpredictability quotient seems to pick up, through the duration of the show. So things can happen, and violence usually does erupt in the show. And being Australia, where the king hit is now, almost a form of,
meditation,
meditation, or getting to know each other, sort of.
So what do you do when things get really bad? How do you cope when people actually do start arguing?
I have to run out the back door, and that's happened on 2,000 occasions now. So I have to run away from the show. Sometimes with protection, because I have Israeli agents that look after me wherever I am. If I'm working in Dubai, I have many more Mossad people working for me, but. It usually does end up like that. At the Republic Bar tonight, it'll probably be an absolute full-on fracas. So if you're out there and if you're wanting to come to the show, I wouldn't come.
Your companion over here, I assume he's a part of your management.
He's an agent.
Your agent, that's what I assumed. You're something like that. Yeah. And he's enjoying hearing you tell people not to come to your shows there. I can see that.
Well, he's been to the shows and he knows how crazy they can get. Things can really turn. Mr. Reinberger, but you must know Mr. Reinberger said things can really get out of hand, Mr. Reinberger.
Oh, come on. No. It's the Jew versus the German thing. It's going to go very bad from here.
Well, at least you had me in here, and if you know my story, then you know how much Germans are not really part of the thing for me. But it doesn't matter. Yes. But you're not a first generation. You're probably
fifth.
You're fifth generation.
No, I've married a German.
There's no war.
I've married a German. She works just down the hall.
That's not good. But there's no war criminals in your background. We hope.
No, not that.
Anybody in the Wehrmacht or
not that I know.
Anybody SS Staatspolizei Adolf Hitler.
Look, what is it about being Jewish that seems to work for comedy? I saw a statistic some years ago that Jews are 5% of America, but they're 50% of professional comedians.
How many Jews are there in the world, Mr. Reinberger?
I don't know, 20 million? That's my guess. That's purely a guess.
That's a very good guess. Most people say, 1 billion. So there's a tiny percentage of Jewish people in the world, and we do contribute hugely to the entertainment of this world, and still people want to kill us. So you go figure. And in terms of the comedy business, the reason that the Jews are so predominant in the comedy business is because of a little thing called chutzpah. And chutzpah is a little Jewish guy goes to the bank. He says, I want to borrow $1.5 billion. The bank manager says, for what? He says, I want to buy this bank. He says, how are you going to pay it back? He says, I won't have to. I own the bank. That is a definition of chutzpah. And that is what we Jews do. And the reason we have the chutzpah is because of persecution since we gave you Jesus Christ. So since we did that, has the guy pulled the plug yet? No. Has he pulled the plug?
No. I'm still going. I'm still on air.
Very adventurous here. So Jesus Christ was a comedian too, as you know. If you just have a look at the history. So we are the comedy people. And in America, where I've just been, the predominance of stand-up comics that are Jewish including Louis C.K. and all the guys that are coming through now. He has a Jewish father anyway, Louis. And you know Louis? Are you familiar with Louis?
Yeah, absolutely. Love his stuff.
Well, I've worked with him a lot. He's supported me a lot in many shows, and he's stolen my style. But the comedy thing is a Jew business. So Bill Anderson, stay out of it.
Now, you have just...
And Rove McManus.
Now, I've watched a bunch of your stuff, especially since we asked you to come on. I like to know something about the people I'm talking to.
That's the guy that got me on. John Andrew Arthur. That's John Andrew Arthur.
And that's the... You've just told a joke. I have never actually seen you told a joke in all the, footage and stuff I've heard of you. I've never heard a gag come out of your mouth.
Well, I've never been interested in jokes, and I'll leave that to Rodney Rood and all the rest of them. I stand apart in the game, and that's probably why I'm bankrupt. But I do think comedy's about something more, and it's about many things, but it's not about joke telling as far as I'm concerned.
You're listening to 936 ABC Hobart and ABC Northern...
Maybe Murray Fields will turn to his grave now. Did you hear what Austen Tayshus just said?
So Daryl Summers drumming away.
I've completely lost the thread of what I was going to say. Who you're listening to? You're listening to 936 ABC Hobart and ABC Northern Tasmania.
You are Joel Reinberger.
I am
from
Joel
the
Reinberger.
Famous Reinbergers from Stuttgart.
With me is Alexander Gutmann.
Alexander Gutmann, which is actually a German name. Gutmann.
I was thinking of that.
A German Jewish name.
Why is someone whose name means good bloke want to change his name to Ostentatious?
Well, I think that Ostentatious is very representative of what I'm on about. It's about a show off and an exhibitionist, and I think that's what I do. If you've had a look at my stuff, and if you're out there in Tasmania and you've just woken up and you've got the horse and cart out the front and you're thinking Morse code, that's where it is, maybe check up on Clark Gable. Apparently Clark Gable's going to be a big star, so have a look. But if you have a computer, they got them down here at all?
They do.
Tony Abbott. I ran against him in the election in 2010.
How'd that go?
Well, we built the Abbott-proof fence and we couldn't keep him out. So
now,
there you
go. You've given a quiet knifing to a few comedians here this afternoon.
Yeah.
Who do you admire?
I admire Barry Humphries. I think he's really the only one in Australia that really is that sharp. And I mean, the guy's a very well read and cultivated human being, and so that whatever his characterization might be, behind it there's a very thoughtful human being, and that's what I think it's all about. I mean, he's having a go. I don't know how much he loves Australia. He probably has a mixed sort of reaction to coming here. That's why he lives in the UK and probably walks around speaking like Jeffrey Robertson, Julian Assange. Jeffrey Robertson, who's from Epping, New South Wales, by the way, and grew up saying,
"Hey, what you going on?
Suddenly turned up in England speaking like that, Julian Assange." which one just can't understand why Tony Jones has never had a go. Come on, Jeff. Come on, mate. Come on, you're from Epping, mate. Come on, mate.
Look, okay, if you admire that about Barry Humphries, do you think of yourself as a cultivated human being?
Well, I've always spent my time trying to educate myself, and I think that's what Julia Gillard was trying to do with the whole Gonski thing. And good on you, Julia. I'm a big fan of Julia Gillard, and I'm sure that's not going to win me any fans here in Tasmania, because... Is anybody awake yet? Hello? Anybody up yet? It's nearly 3 p.m. It's a big world out there. Anybody been up to Devonport?
Ostentatious playing tonight and tomorrow night at the Republic Bar.
No, the Republic Bar tonight and tomorrow night.
Tomorrow you're elsewhere. Sorry,
it's a place called the Brookfield Margate
restaurant.
The Brookfield Margate restaurant. And do we have a phone number there at all?
That's right. People who are in the area know it well and can.
Do they know it well? Because I think it's
they have a white page.
6272. What is it?
They have a white pages.
62672880. 6267.
Having an agent in the room. Isn't that great?
We got my agent's in the room. What can you do? So, every comedian has to travel around with his agent, and here my agent is right here. Right here.
So tonight at the Republic Bar. Tomorrow at Brookfield.
To Brookfield Margate. And Brookfield Margate, they have a dinner there, which is probably not worth coming for. So it's worth actually coming for the entertainment. So
I'll see if turning off the microphone actually works.
You got to get me out of here. Who's next? Who's next? Who's coming up?
I do.
Bronwyn Bishop?
It's the news.
Is it Bronwyn Bishop?
And the news